going to do just a short program to honor Rick. And first, for those of us who've been public servants, we know how much it hurts us when people malign public service because there's so much to admire, and there's no one who's more of a public servant or the ultimate public servant than Rick. He's smart, dedicated, hardworking, empathetic, fair-minded, and kind. And those are all attributes that we all bring to the job, and we know how important they are. Using his superior intellectual and critical thinking skills, Rick has given his all on behalf of the city. He's focused on justice and the best interests of our city while honoring the policymakers, our mayor, and the elected officials, which is really the role of lawyers for the city. Over his 43 years of service, he's had a hand in some of the most important issues facing our city. And I think a prime example is his role in the success of the Republican National Convention, because Rick, along with many other people, had a very large hand in steering those events and making sure that it was successful and showcased our city in such a great light. And there's many other projects that he's worked on in his time here that has made our city a better place. His contributions to the law department as like a law firm cannot be underestimated. As a leading expert in Ohio on home rule, he's contributed that knowledge to our city and to other cities in Ohio. And he has provided guidance and mentorship to so many lawyers who've come through the department. But he was also a mentor to me. And I'm so grateful for that and the support and mentorship that he's given to me. So I will miss his valuable legal contributions more than you can imagine, but even more, I'll miss his friendship and his mentorship. Before the mayor comes up, I have a 40-year pin to give to you from our human resources director. I know they don't have a 43-year pin. So yes, a 40-year pin. But Mayor Jackson is going to address us.
You know, I say all the time that public service is an honorable profession, but it's not made for everyone. It's not made, everyone can't do this. But those who do it and do it well have the greatest opportunity to impact the lives of individuals and families and communities. And Rick is one of those people who we all look to, and he has made a significant impact on this city. As Barb has said, you just can't recount all of the things that he has contributed to and all the things that he has led. I know without his input and without his legal guidance and without his the work that he did, we would not have been as successful as we were with the Republican National Convention. I've been with the city 40 years, 27 in City Hall as elected official, and Rick was here before I got here. And when I was a councilman, I could rely on him for good, accurate legal advice, opinion, information. When I became council president, it was the same way. And when I became mayor, same thing. Rick Horvath really personifies what it means to be a good public servant. And so I want to present to you, Rick, this proclamation in recognition of 43?
Yeah, close enough.
43 years of public service to the city of Cleveland. And there's always one extra thing that Rick has always done, and that is whatever you needed, he gave you the facts and the truth of the matter, the legal advice. And so, as Barb said, we're going to miss it. But when you want to come back and visit, or if you want to come back and do whatever you want to do, and the door's locked, I want to present to you the key of the city. So,
Now, not your turn yet.
Not my turn.
Marty Sweeney has a presentation.
Yay! I need some clapping. Well, on behalf of the 11.7 million Ohioans, I am here to congratulate Rick Horvath on this outstanding accomplishment. Blah, blah, blah. Right? Do you want that speech? Or do you want the speech that says, when I started in 1997, I had the privilege of meeting this fine, outstanding young man. And we had many an opportunity to interact. Brief history. We started 1997, got Ken Silliman. Let's rezone the entire neighborhood around the airport and take residential and make it semi-industry. Can we do it? And then let's take over the IX Center and have a land swap. Why not? His fingerprints are all over this city of Cleveland. And then when I became council president, he buckled in and said, we're going for a ride. My favorite Rick Horvath opinion, all of us have them. Craig Willis lives in that house. Does anybody remember that one? But it was absolutely factual. He decided through his due diligence that nothing changed from the time that Craig said he lived in that house to the time when it was being discussed. And by the law and by the, what's it called when you?
No, I don't know.
No. The precedent, it was accurate. And Craig was able to continue seeking the election. And it was the right thing to do. And whenever he made an opinion, no one really doubted it. So I have one, this is my attempt at humor. My last assignment, because you are so creative, since I lost the election, I want you to rule that I can get unemployment.
Let me think about it.
Boom. I was risking that. Sharon, was that all right? It's all right. Okay, so on serious note, it's tough going after Frank, or my mayor, because he had that resolution that was paper. I'm like, oh, I'm going to bust out a glass one. He comes out with this key to the city, man. So I got nothing. All I got is a glass frame from you. So in all seriousness, on behalf of the 11.7 million Ohioans, our governor, our speaker, and our president of the Senate, the House of Representatives, under the sponsorship of me, is here to recognize Richard Horvath on your retirement from the city of Cleveland. A lot of sentences, and at the end it says, thus, with great pleasure, we commend you for your exemplary service. And that's two words that go together to describe you perfectly. And we and everybody here wish you happiness and fulfillment in the years to come. Enjoy your time with your beautiful wife. Think about us, but don't come back too often. How to hold this? I don't get too many pictures.
Now, Rick, we'd like to hear from you.
Well, first, thank you. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you, Barbara. It's been an absolute pleasure having you as the law director. We think very similarly, and she's such a fine lawyer that it makes it very easy to work in the office with you. At times, I think we have a little telepathy between the two of us. We see things the same way. She's been here a long time. I've been here a long time. It's just been a pleasure coming every day. Mayor Jackson, it's been, as I said to you before you spoke, it has been great working with you, both in council president, and as mayor of the city of Cleveland. You've been an excellent client. You give clear direction, and it has been a real pleasure putting your agenda forward and working on your behalf. And Marty, gee, you know, we have some of the best memories coming out of the hall, coming up in your office, playing basketball, your basketball hoop. But again, it's what I've learned here at the city is there are a lot of dedicated public servants trying to get the job done on a daily basis. You have your elected officials who come at it with a desire to represent their wards or the city the very best they can. They are motivated by the desire. They get such a bad rap in the media sometimes. I have learned that politicians are human beings who want to accomplish the best they can for their constituents. I may not have always agreed with all of those elected officials as to what they wanted to accomplish, but I've always felt that the various mayors, council presidents, council members that I have worked with have been motivated by a desire to do what they think is very best for the city. I've worked with 6 mayors, 6 council presidents, 7 clerks of council, and they've all been really good public servants. Then you talk about all the administrators in city government that I've worked with. It's just countless numbers. But again, they're here to do the agenda of the elected officials. Some do it better than others. But man, it's been a very impressive group of dedicated servants. I see over at that table a couple of my favorite, Sharon Dumas, who is the finance director and chief of staff. You couldn't ask for a finer finance director than her. It has always been, she and I always see it eye to eye. And right next to her, my cohort during the Republican National Convention, Valerie McCall. We spent so many hours together that my wife started wondering what I was doing outside the office as we worked very hard to accomplish something that I think was really great for the city, and it was a real pleasure to work on. But there have been countless officials that I've worked with at the city. But you know who really gets the job done? I alluded to it to the mayor. Throughout city government, there is this team of people who work in all the departments who are never recognized who really do the day-to-day operation of the city. If you do not know those people, you can't get the job done. I think of people like Pat Singleton out at the airport, or Andre Reynolds over in finance, or Alan Dreyer up in city council. These are the people I can call. In 2 words or less, we can get something done and move forward, and they're not recognized. And it's always been a pleasure working with that. Sometimes I refer to them as the bureaucracy, but they're the people that really get jobs done on a day-to-day basis in city government, and it's been a pleasure working with them. Then we moved to the law department, and I've worked with 20 law directors. And it's not true that I trained them all. Some people say that, but it's not true. Subodh is here, Subodh Chandra. Sharon Sobel-Jordan's back there. Barbara, I may have missed 1 or 2 others. But a team of very impressive lawyers. When I started as assistant director of law with Jack Schulman, he was law director. Fantastic, brilliant lawyer. I learned so much from a lot of these lawyers along the way. Hopefully I've imparted some knowledge to them about how the city operates, but they've always been here, ready to work, and done a great job for the city. And then, of course, there are all the lawyers in the law department. Gosh, I can't go to a law firm in town without running into someone I've worked with in the law department, and I include in that people like Fred Nance. Remember all those hours up in your offices working on the Brook Park deal, the IX Center acquisition, Save Our Browns campaign. David Goodman was here. David's still here. Back over there. David is a young lawyer here, and then great lawyers. I see the lawyers from Tucker Ellis in the back. There's so many attorneys in town that I've worked with, and there's really a lot of great legal talent here in the city, and I've had the joy of working with them. And then there are the support staff in the law department, which gets me to the key people in my life. And now I get choked up. First and foremost, there is the person who really keeps the city going day to day. No matter what you think of me or you think of Barbara, there's one person in city government that nothing will get done except for her, and that's Nancy Lanzola. Fortunately, Nancy and I became partners 35 years ago, and she's been right outside my office ever since. And if there's one person I will miss at City Hall, it's Nancy. And I thank her for everything that she's done for me. And then when I walked into City Hall many years ago, of course, I was a single fella. And now I have two grown daughters, Elena and Emma, who are sitting back there. Emma flew in from Portland. Elena flew in from Lakewood. And, they're the joys of my life. And then finally, and maybe many of you don't know, thanks to a contact and a mutual friend we had in City Council, I met this woman named Colleen Brady. She's always kept me sane. She's always been there for me. She is the person that I can confide in and has always been my best friend, and I love her dearly. And after all these many years, we're actually going into retirement together, and it'll be fun. But it's been a great career. I will never tell anybody that this wasn't a fantastic ride. I was very fortunate and I've told a few people here, when I was in college, I worked on a Senate campaign for Joe Tidings. He lost the election for Senate in Maryland back when I was in college. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun to work in campaigns, to work close to politicians? I never wanted to run for office myself. I had no desire to do that. In fact, I don't really understand why any of you do it. I really don't. That's one thing I haven't learned in all the time I've been here. But I've always been intrigued by the process of government and to be close to the elected officials to assist them in doing and implementing their agenda. And little did I know when I was this young college student that I would have a career where that's exactly what I did. I have spent my entire career helping the leaders of our city accomplish their goals and their agendas, and I have been a very fortunate person to do this, and I'm very grateful for the experience to work with all of these various public servants, but it's time to move on, and I'm ready to move on, and I will never regret 1 minute of my time here with the city. I extend to those who come behind me. It's a great career. You can stay in public service. You can raise your family. You can really find fascinating, enjoyable work. And I really have enjoyed what's happened, so I thank you all. Thank you very much.